get so much movement off the ball. It gives the running back so many second quarter, 53 seconds left. To highlight a Marion Harris here, kind of taking some flat sets and really still in that guard mindset. It's a beautiful pocket, but I'm going to point one thing out. Knock somebody's head off. When it comes to nut cutting time in the fourth quarter, you got to go drive the ball down, right? You got to go score, whatever. These defensive linemen do not want any piece of it.
Coochie down to the socks like I'm Biggie Papa. Baby. Keep your girl head in my Tommy boxes. But run it out.
All right, welcome into another episode of 4th and 5 presented by Ortho Arkansas. And once again, we are ready for another episode of Let Grant Cook. Grant, so glad you're here with us as you are sporting once again your DDK hat, which one I still don't have. But before I let you talk about DDK, I have to share you something about what they have to offer. So we talked about what they are, but now let's see their product, all right? And this right here, Grant, I'm telling you, maybe you, me, Matt, and Josh, we can put our resources together and take advantage of this amazing property. Just take a look at your screen right now. I mean, if you are looking for land, this is it. This is Coben Lake on Lawson Road. This is near I-430, literally in the heart of Little Rock, Arkansas. It's so hard to find property like this. I'm talking 156 plus acres. Unreal. This is listed at $2.4 million. So if you do the math, that's about $15,000 an acre. And I'm telling you, that is a deal. This is going to be hunting land, recreational land. It has undeveloped land and timber on the land as well. It also has a nice little 12-acre private lake, 14524 Lawson Road. Grant, I don't know, maybe you, me, and the boys get together, a perfect maybe HQ location for a future 4th and 5 studios. I don't know. It sounds good to me.
This property, though, I'm in. If you fit the bill, DJ, then I'll show up. I'm in.
I'm sure you'll be there. I can't wait. Fun stuff right there. All right, Grant, let's go ahead and get into it. Some promising things I'm assuming to talk about. And I'll tell you, as we kind of are about to get into the breakdown of the big guys up front, it's kind of hard to gauge how good we were just based off the talent. And I'm sure you saw this on tape too, Grant. I mean, Mississippi State defensive line, it's like they didn't care at all on some of those plays.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think they had some injuries, some guys that maybe didn't play. So they're playing some maybe younger guys or, guys that maybe couldn't hang it with SEC talent. I think also, and as much as people, in certain programs want to say, well, we've got a lot to play for. You're 1-6, we're building for the next year, new coach, all those things. People let go of the rope a little bit when you're 1-6. I mean, there's not a whole lot to play for, right? You can coach, speak it up, and you can say what you want to say and to the media, but we've been in locker rooms that you weren't too successful in. You and I both have been there. And it's hard to motivate yourself to go out there and just give it 100% for really nothing on the back end, right? There's no bowl game for them to go to. I mean, I guess technically during this game, they still had a very, very outside chance of being bowl eligible. They had to go undefeated the rest of the year. They're eliminated now, of course. But I think we probably saw a little bit of a Mississippi State team that was deflated, and you can understand why. I mean, it makes sense that not a whole lot to play for those guys. But I don't want to take all the credit away from what we did up front and what the offense did and all of those things. I mean, we played a good game too, right? It was a mixture of us playing well and maybe them not having as much to play for, and we took full advantage of it. I mean, the offense, I think we finally saw kind of that explosion of offense that we were waiting all year to see, right? We've seen spurts here and there and good plays here and there, but it looked like we just kind of all put it together. But there's still a few things that we can point out that I want to see us continue to build on. So with that, we can jump straight into the clip. First clip, 14:26 left in the first. So opening drive. This is a little inside zone to Braylon Russell. So a couple of quick things. I think it's blocked up well. I mean, obviously we get 8 yards on the play. One thing here, I want to highlight the center. So trying to understand a little bit of what's coming at you. It looks like at the top of the screen, They may be trying to run what's called a scrape blitz. So you got the Sam linebacker walked up on the line. He's coming from the outside. You got the Mike linebacker, the guy that's here on the hash. He's a little bit deeper than the other linebacker that's going to come downhill. Now, he doesn't end up coming downhill because he reads run and stays out of it. But this 3 technique comes all the way across the guard's face and then all the way into the A gap. And truthfully, should have been a tackle for loss. But he whiffs on the play. So, Addison, keep your head up, man. Look at where these guys are going. Anticipate the movement, right? We've talked about that a lot this year, understanding where the defense is going to go before they go there, before the ball snapped. And we got beat a little bit here on this one. Fortunately, Braylon makes a really good move in the backfield, gets north and south. And, man, the great thing about a 250-plus pound running back is they fall forward. And you see it over and over again, man. Those 1 and 2 yards of falling forward really make a difference as we start to go out throughout the game. And he makes those safeties really make a business decision on if they want to get in there and hit that man.
Yeah, a team that's 1-6, they typically don't throw their bodies around as if something's on the line. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see moving forward. A different ball game, obviously, this week against Ole Miss. As we stick with the O-line, Grant, there was a big change, when you switch up guys and you have Kudus, who is back, and I'm assuming played well from what I've seen on tape. I'll let you kind of dig a little bit more into that. But perfect scenario for him, right? Because sitting out all that time and then hopping into a starting role, it's a lot different if you're going up against like a Alabama or a Georgia or a Tennessee or an LSU. Would you say this was probably the perfect game for him to kind of get his feet wet with a Mississippi State team who's not too talented up front?
I think so. It's kind of that warm-up game that everyone else got, right? Those couple of games at the beginning of the season to get your feet wet, get into game mode. But Kudus is a good football player. Played a lot for us last year. Of course, played at tackle. We put him in at guard, so he's got a little bit of protection in there and not having to be as in much space. But, yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good opportunity for him to get in, get his feet wet, play a little bit, get kind of in what we would call game shape, right? And then he played extremely well, but this week that we're in now is a completely different week, right? I mean, Ole Miss has got some dudes. So I was excited to see him out there. I think a mixture of things happened with his success. I don't think it was just plugging in one guy, but he played extremely well. You can tell he has a good understanding of where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there. Very physical football player. And I'm actually going to get into it right here in the next clip. First quarter, 4 minutes and 51 seconds, rather. Looks like another inside zone here. And this is complete domination. I mean, front side, a lot of movement. They're trying to string it out a little bit, but we just talked about Kudus. He comes in, fires off the ball, and drives his guy. When he leaves him, we're 2 or 3 yards off the line of scrimmage. Now, you can tell, and this is where a big thing in the offensive line, all 5 guys, how each other play the game and who's played together and trying to understand about what they're trying to do here. You see Carmona ends up folding underneath Kudus' block. It doesn't block anyone. But if he played with him a little bit, he'll understand he's just driving him upfield. I'd like to see Carmona come underneath that, take that block over as Kudus works up to the linebacker. But Dubinion makes a really, really nice cut on the backside. And when you get so much movement off the ball, it gives the running back so many options. I mean, the defense really can't be right if you've got a good running back, because he's going to set those blocks up to cut this thing back, which is exactly what he does here. And it's a 20-plus yard run, which is really, really awesome to see.
Braylon Russell, 175 yards rushing. Dubinion added his fair share. So did Talon. And so rushing, it was good seeing that back. But obviously, to be very competitive, you got to be balanced on offense. What's the pass protection? How'd that look like against Mississippi State? Because I can't think of one play off the top of my head where I even remember Talon being under pressure.
Yeah, I agree. And so next clip, second quarter, 53 seconds left, so right before half. And we're gonna highlight a Marion Harris here. So if we remember, against LSU, he was kind of taking some flat sets and really still in that guard mindset, it looked like, on how
Yep.
he was wanting to attack a defender. On this one, really, really nice set. Good 45-degree angle. You can see he's patient. And we talked about that inside leverage, right? The inside leverage of the defensive lineman, you want to keep your helmet on that inside number and make him decide which way he wants to go. And he does that here on number 46, and then does a really nice job sitting down when he gets to quarterback depth and not allowing that defensive lineman to flow back underneath him and kind of fold in and get one of those sacks that you see when a quarterback steps up and the guy falls off of you and comes from behind and hits the quarterback. And then it's a beautiful pocket, but I'm going to point one thing out, and I talked about it against LSU, is Josh Braun, his guy, it kind of folds over, and then he just kind of gets in the mix, man. Go knock somebody's head off.
Yeah.
He had, be aggressive. This is, it's like we used to talk about, this is the only place on earth inside this 53.5-yard wide and 120-yard long field that you can abuse someone and not get in trouble for it, right?
Yeah.
Go do it,
Yes.
man. Go absolutely knock the crap out of somebody. And so he just kind of melts into this block.
Mm-hmm.
Take that big body and mash him. That's the kind of things, as the game goes on, it wears people down. So that's the one thing on this play that I wish that I would have seen, is that defensive lineman get dumped by Braun folding back into the block. But like I said, all day, beautiful pocket. And I know Talon appreciated being able to stand tall and throw the ball down the field. And you can see what he can do with the ball in these receivers when he has the time to throw it. And we have a lot of routes. We had a lot of people wide open.
Grant, I'm glad you brought that up, because I talked about that in my breakdown Monday, is setting that tone of physicality, especially in games coming up like Ole Miss. It's going to be a dogfight. We all know it.
Yep.
Punches are going to be thrown. Let's get it. It's going to be who's tough. Who are you tough enough? How many times did you hear that? But the thing is, I was talking about those DBs. There's moments when I just see they pass up on contact. And I said, no, you have to take advantage of every opportunity within the rules to really lay that wood. And it really makes a huge difference mentality-wise. And I would almost say the same thing in that situation you just played out with Braun. Okay, yeah, you didn't have to do it. Pocket's great. But that gets into the head of these D linemen. These dudes are just savages. That will help you later in the fourth. They don't want to come back on the field and deal with that shit all day.
You took the words right out of my mouth. You do those things in the first and second quarter. So when it comes to nut cutting time in the fourth quarter, you got to go drive the ball down, right? You got to go score or whatever. These defensive linemen do not want any piece of it, right? Their ribs are sore, their shoulders are sore, their knees are sore. Everything's hurting. They know they're peeking out the side of their face mask thinking this dude's about to come knock me out. I'm not trying to rush, because last time I came off the ball super hard, I got clocked, right? You do that all throughout the whole game. For then that last drive, it slows everything down a little bit. We used to be able to cut block, and I'm gonna pull a play up here in a minute. I don't know the rules anymore as well as I used to, obviously, but some of these things, we used to get in those knees, man. People legit had to make business decision on whether they wanted to play at the next level or not, if they wanted to really run up there and get them legs cut out from underneath them. But
hold on, wait, before you get to the next one, I want to just double down on what we're trying to explain. As we're talking about this, it reminds me of a clip that I saw of a former DB from Florida. You may remember this play. It was like a bowl game, maybe. I can't remember. But it was Major Wright. I can't remember the safety's name from Florida. I think they're playing against OU. And it's a long pass down the sideline. And it's crazy. You remember that, right? And that's what I'm saying. These type of plays that set the tone, I wasn't even in the game, and it left the impact on me. Just imagine if your receiver's out there. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show this clip of him explaining his decision that he made, because he said, I could have probably picked the ball off, but I'm thinking long term, I want these guys to have fear every time that ball's in the air. And so let me go ahead and play this clip real quick, and I'll explain exactly what we're talking about.
I'm so amped to play this game. Third play of the game, Bradford pumps to our sideline. I see the ball in the air. I'm like, oh, I gotta go get that. But then I look and I see the receiver. I could have easily went for the ball, but I didn't want the ball. I wanted him. I wanted to strike fear into their team. Fear.
I mean, Grant. You just nowadays, would that probably be a targeting and you're going to be ejected? Yes. Okay. I get the game has changed, but
Correct.
that mindset, and I think there's going to be opportunities on the field come Saturday where you have tone setting plays. And I said, if you do that time and time and time again, then you get this identity of like, God, we really don't like playing these guys. And then I'm looking beyond Ole Miss. Once you put that on tape, those guys prepping all week long are like, yeah, this is going to be a long-ass game. And right now, last week, what the DBs put on tape, the receivers from Ole Miss aren't too worried about it. I really hope that changes today, and I hope those D linemen understand, dude, these dudes from Arkansas, you better keep your head on a swivel up front because they're coming to knock you out.
Took the words out of my mouth again, man. We're on the same page. You put that stuff on film, the coaches start coaching their players.
Yeah.
Opposing teams, hey man, have your head on a swivel. Now you're gonna get the shit knocked out of you. Like, be looking around because these dudes don't play.
Oh yeah.
The play that we just showed, I remember in the documentary or whatever, he was like, no, I purposefully did not pick the ball off. Could have made a play on the ball.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's like first quarter, second quarter. He's like, no, I want them to think the rest of the time, as soon as that ball's thrown, I'm short arming all of these. I'm not laying out there. I'm not exposing my body, man. And, Coach Petrino and the rest of the coaches, always talk about being the hammer, not the nail, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the name of the game because one team is going to be one or the other. Like, inevitably, right? You either get to be the hammer or you're going to be the nail. There is no in between. So
no,
you want to give them everything they want, right? But jumping into the last clip. So getting out on the edge here, and this was a really successful run. Love Carmona here, and I will say this for the people that don't know, being 320 pounds. My bad, Carmona, if you don't weigh quite that much, but 300 something. Out on the edge, trying to get your hands on a DB. That's really hard to do. You got to be an athlete to do that.
That's tough. That's tough for a tight end.
Yeah. I mean, those guys are much more physically gifted in speed and elusiveness than a 310, 320 pound offensive lineman. But does a really, really good job of kicking that defensive back out. And here's our boy Kudus, right? First game in, fresh, running. He's ready to go. Does a really, really good job of getting around the end. But it all starts with Luke right here on a really, really nice pin block. Love his aiming point. Would love to see him keep his head on the front side of that so he can drive the thing upfield. But nothing to really complain about here. I want to point out one thing, and this is just knowing the design of the play, okay? On the backside, you see Josh Braun. He chips, which is needed here because Marion has an inside technique on him that he's trying to cut off. That's a really, really hard thing to do, especially when all the flow is taking that defensive lineman fast down the line. So he does a really nice job chipping here. But what I would like to see him do, know that ball is going outside. There is no opportunity for a cutback. Take a 45 and try to go get number 10 right here that's on the hash because I'll play the clip all the way out. If you do that, take a look at who makes a play. And if this thing is not on the sideline, that ball is live. DeBinion fumbles this ball. Luckily, it goes out of bounds. But if Braun can not worry about this backside defensive or this backside linebacker fold back in, because he's out of the play, and takes a 45 and just hauls butt upfield, trying to cut that safety off, this thing's a home run. I mean, DeBinion's down the sideline, it's over. But you never know who's going to fall back in. I would love to see that. Once again, I'm not trying to be overly critical or whatever, but there's always one thing on every play that you can try to fix. And this film was hard to find, but yeah, I mean, really well executed game plan by the Hogs offense. Obviously, defense maybe took a little bit of a step back. I don't know about schematically, but just in their aggression and the way they wanted to play the game. Couple of those swing passes and stuff like that had guys bad angles, and you got to get that cleaned up against a very high-powered Ole Miss offense. Lane Kiffin's going to dial it up, and we don't need to let it get out of hand, right? I mean, we don't want to be fighting from behind. We want to stay in this thing from the kickoff to the final whistle. So I'm hopeful that Tia Will and those guys got something cooked up on the defensive end, and we can take the success offensively from this past week and carry it forward against Ole Miss, and have a little bit of confidence going in that game Saturday.
I like it, Grant. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Great insight. Hopefully we got some great film to talk about come next week here on 4th and 5. And you going to be up at the game?
Maybe so. Not sure yet.
Okay. If so, I'll see you there.
All right.
Appreciate your time, man. Have a good night.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.